Breakdown of the ninth step of Alcoholics Anonymous, repairing damage. We made direct reparation to as many people as possible for the harm caused, except when doing so would injure them or others. This step goes hand in hand with the previous one, remembering that in the eighth step, we made a list of those people we have harmed. We will begin from there, since in the eighth step, we specifically defined which people we harmed. This will be very helpful, so that in this ninth step, we can define which people we can directly repair the damage to and which ones we definitely cannot, since doing so could cause prejudice or much greater damage than what has already been done. Good judgment, the ability to choose the right moment, courage, and prudence. These are the qualities we will need when taking the ninth step. We must realize that many of the people we have harmed will require different treatment because each case is unique. Therefore, analyzing this step is crucial as it will guide us in determining with whom we can make direct amends. With others, we cannot, for reasons inherent to their nature. For example, perhaps we harmed our parents, but they have passed away. Logically, in this case, we will have to approach this reparation differently, and it cannot be done directly. Most of us have unconsciously begun to practice this step in a very subtle way. That is, when we enter an AA group, we mention to our family that we are going to start quitting drinking. And this has been the case in many instances. This is a way of repairing the damage done to the family by quitting drinking. And this begins from the moment we join an AA group. This is why we must first be sure we are practicing the other steps and are fully committed to the AA program. Since many individuals have tried to practice this step without having the necessary foundation and groundwork. Furthermore, far from solving problems, they have made them bigger. For example, in a job where we may have stolen from the company, we cannot be completely honest and truthful, because if we disregard this step, we will put our emotional, material, and social well-being at risk. Therefore, it is better to take things calmly, analyze the situation, and find the right moment to make amends, remembering that prudence is a great virtue, because after a reasonable amount of time has passed and we have given ourselves time to reflect, we can make amends. We will tell our fellow members what we have done in AA and how we are trying to change within the program without going into more gruesome details, since many times society will not understand our perverse disease of the soul. We must be well prepared to take this step, as we are prone to experience in many adversities and situations that can range from cold indifference to acceptance from the person we have wronged, or on rare occasions, to a cold or skeptical reception. We may be tempted to argue or insist obstinately, or perhaps we succumb to discouragement and pessimism. But if we have prepared ourselves well beforehand, these reactions will not deter us from our firm and balanced purpose. Many of us, while we may have made amends with some people, have done so with those for minor offenses that aren't particularly painful or bothersome. However, if we become complacent, we might use any excuse or justification to postpone making amends with those we feel ashamed to make amends with those who cause us the most prejudice and shame. We can take things calmly. If we are mindful of the work we're doing and explain it simply without going into irrelevant details of the events that cause the harm, the other person will surely perceive the sincerity of our communication, and a more positive atmosphere will begin to develop. If this is not the case, and the other person remains severely hurt or resentful towards us, it is best to be prudent, offer an apology, and withdraw to avoid further conflict. The reparations we're going to avoid are those that would cause direct or indirect harm to someone. For example, perhaps our partner doesn't know we were unfaithful and had affairs at work, even though they suspected something but were never certain, despite the rumors. In this case, it's best to avoid discussing these situations with our partner, because far from fixing the situation, we often, or rather most of the time, only make the problem worse. Another example would be if we were stealing at work and our boss never realized what we were doing. In this case, it's better to keep this to ourselves, because if we still have our job, mentioning this situation will likely cost us our job or even lead to legal trouble. In both cases of infidelity and theft, the best reparation we can make is to never repeat the act and stop being defiant, truly analyzing the harm we caused to the people we claim to love most. The examples above are not a universal rule or an absolute truth. Rather, each case will be different. It won't always be this way, as circumstances and causes vary. Despite this, we must be fully prepared to make amends for the harm we have caused to those we have hurt. While in some cases we may not make direct reparations, we should strive to begin changing our judgments and attitudes. Another case in which we cannot make a direct reparation will be when the person has died. In these cases, prayer and meditation are very helpful, in which we can talk to God about our situation and give to God all our guilt, our mistakes and faults that we committed against the person or vice versa. Let us remember that practicing this step will lead us to ask for forgiveness and to grant forgiveness to others, because the true spirit of the ninth step is the willingness to accept all the consequences of our past actions and at the same time to take responsibility for the well-being of others. It is time to realize, as they say in the groups, that we have to take the bull by the horns and face the reality we have avoided all our lives. A prayer before making amends for any wrong will give us the wisdom and strength to face whatever situations may arise. Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey toward recovery. If you have found value in our content and would like to continue exploring topics related to Alcoholics Anonymous and personal transformation, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to receive alerts for our new videos. Together, we can build a community of support and hope. Until next time, and take care.